It's week 2 of our Made to Crave book club, and I'm really excited to dive in. I'll be honest with you, this week I have struggled, and I actually didn't even read the chapters until like halfway through the week. I just had, a lot of personal things going on, just a lot of like emotions and sadness. My husband's getting ready to deploy, and it's just been kind of a rough week, and it's gonna be a rough few weeks. But I really thought that the lessons I learned this week were so perfect in their timing, and just great reminders, and so I'm excited to talk about them a little bit deeper. So last week's video was super long, and I don't want it to be like that again, so I'm not gonna go even to as much detail as I did last time. I'm really trying to cut down on the amount of time that I spend because I really want to have good discussion with you guys in the comments. I am going to go over a little bit. So starting with chapter 4, this week we did chapter 4 through 6, and so here we go with chapter 4. Chapter 4 was all about accountability, which I think is so important, and honestly for me, I don't feel like I can do anything without some accountability. I'm not good at holding myself accountable. I need people around me, and I think honestly that's human nature. I think just as a society, as humans, that we were made to need God. We were made to need each other. I think that's specifically for Christians why God made the church, that we all come together, because he knows that we need each other. And so I really just liked this focus on accountability. And honestly, accountability is why I started this book club. I knew that I needed the accountability of a weekly upload, and you guys following along. I needed that accountability for me to get through this book and for me to learn these lessons. And so, this is just me stumbling through it with you guys so that I can learn some things and that, I'm being held accountable. Jumping right to the questions, I was looking at question 3 in chapter 4, and it said, if accountability is crucial, what is the biggest challenge you face in making accountability part of your healthy eating plan? And honestly, for me, this has always been a struggle, is I don't ask for help, and I know that I need to. I know that it's only my own stupid pride in the way, but I never want to ask for help. I feel like at this point I should be able to like get it together. Like, I have been on this weight loss journey off and on for like 4 or 5 years now, and in that 4 or 5 years I've only managed to gain like 30 pounds. I lose and then I gain right back, and it's so frustrating. But I noticed that my biggest issue is that I haven't had the right people surrounding me and holding me accountable. I've tried to be held accountable with some people, but I think the importance is you have to find the people that are going to pull out certain things for you. I think one of the questions was like, what would you imagine is like perfect accountability or something like that. And honestly, for me, like, I need someone who's gonna push me, that they have to be like tough love with me, but at the same time, like, not mean. And I think in the past I've picked the people that make me feel good, the people that say like, it's okay, like, I'm struggling too, and I've had an issue too. And honestly, we just get in this cycle of like, yeah, neither one of us is doing great, but we're still awesome. And it's true, we are still awesome. But I definitely need the people that are gonna hold me accountable, hold me to these convictions, and just want me to do better and be better. Like, I need that in my life. I need people that are gonna be Christ-like in my life. Whenever people were in sin around Christ, he wasn't like, you know what, you're still awesome, you'll get it eventually. Like, no, he was very firm about sin. And for me, the way that I eat, my relationship with food is sinful for me. And I need people that are going to help me just to be radical about it and cut off this sin. So I definitely need to find the right kind of accountability. But I don't know that I found that yet. I'm looking, I'm searching, but yeah, I think accountability is super important and it's crucial. But my biggest thing is I need to be willing to ask for help, and I need to be humble enough to accept the help. I feel like chapter 4 was pretty straightforward. Just the fact that we need accountability, we need those people in our lives. I want to jump to chapter 5 because I feel like there was a lot of good in there that I just really, really appreciated. We were made for more, and I struggle with this, to be completely honest. And I think I talked about this in my question, but it's hard for me to believe this, that I was made for more. But one thing that I really picked out from this chapter and I really loved is that we have to be persistent and we have to ask for wisdom over and over again. And it's okay to be like a broken record. I almost feel bad sometimes when I pray because, I'll pray like a few times, maybe a few times in a day or, a few days in a row, and it'll be the same prayer, and I feel like bad because I feel like I'm not doing the right things. Like, okay, I prayed for wisdom once, or like, okay, I prayed for God to help me make better choices once, and I feel like the rest is on me. Like, I should be able to handle it. But the truth is, like, I need to go to God daily, and it's okay to be a broken record. It's okay to pray the same prayer over and over again, because if that's what I'm struggling with, that's what I'm struggling with. And I should never feel embarrassed to pray, and I don't know where that comes from, what insecurity that comes from for me to feel embarrassed when I go to God in prayer. But I just really appreciated this. Like, it's okay for us to pray over and over again for wisdom, like to be persistent. It's encouraged to be persistent. And so I just really appreciated that. And also, this whole journey, all of this, going to God for wisdom, is so that we may know Him better. And I feel like that is just so important, because if I was only doing this to look good, or only doing this to, impress people or impress my husband, honestly, I would never do it. Like, my husband thinks that I'm beautiful, and my friends seem to like me just fine, like, that's not what I'm in it for. If I was in it just to get cuter clothes or fit into smaller jeans, like, I would never do it, because that's just not enough weight for me to really change my life. Like, I'm not gonna change my life for smaller jeans. Like, that is not enough motivation for me. But I need to remember and keep it on the forefront of my mind that the reason I'm doing this, the reason I'm saying no to things that I like, the reason that I'm suffering daily, is so that I can get closer to God, so that I can know Him better. And that's what's important to me. And I'll be honest, like, recently I haven't felt as close to God as I want to, because this huge thing is in my way. Like, this huge obstacle is in my way, and it's keeping me from God. And so that needs to be my motivation. That needs to be what drives me, is I want to be closer to God. I want to feel His presence. And what's holding me back is my relationship with food. And that should be strong enough for me to cut off this sinful relationship. And so question 1 for chapter 5, it said, I was made for more is a spiritual truth that unlocks great power for Christians. When you think of your past failures and your current struggles with food, how do you hope this truth might help you? I feel like my answer kind of goes with question 1 and question 3. But I said the idea of being made for more still baffles me. I've always been the big girl. I've almost found comfort in my size. It's how I identify myself. The idea that there is more to life blows my mind. And it's true. Like, I've always been like the fat friend, and honestly, I've resigned myself to the fact that this is just gonna be my life. And I hate that. I hate that I've gotten to the point where I don't even want to try some days because I feel like this is all that there is for me. And it's just not true. I was made for more, and they're like overcoming this sinful relationship with food, overcoming this huge obstacle, like the possibilities on the other end are endless. And this has been my biggest source of failure, where a lot of my worthless feelings come from. Whenever I think about, I want to go back to school, well, I'm going to fail at that because how many times have I tried to lose weight and I fail at that, or just anything I want to do. I just connect those all the time. Like, I've just identified myself as a failure because I've continued to fail at this. And that's just, I've accepted it at this point, and I hate it. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to live with that truth because it's not truth. And so I guess just the idea that there's more, I'm still trying to comprehend. I'm still trying to get a grasp on that and trying to believe it. But what I also really, really loved was, it was Lisa's third point in this chapter, and it was also on question 4. I'm going to say, take a moment to review the following lists of statements, inserting your name before each one. How does this understanding of how God sees you impact the circumstance-based view of your identity you list in response to question 3? Whew. Okay. And I just thought this was so great. I love this. Just like inserting my name in scripture just makes it more real to me. So I did that. I went down the list. Quinn, the forgiven child of God. Quinn, the set free child of God. Quinn, the accepted child of God. Quinn, the holy child of God. Quinn, the made new child of God. Quinn, the loved child of God. Quinn, the close child of God. Quinn, the confident child of God. And Quinn, the victorious child of God. Like, that, some of those things don't make sense to me. Like, Quinn and victorious do not seem to go in the same sentence for me. I've never felt victorious. And that's something that I struggle with. I need to learn to feel victorious whenever I have victories. Like, Quinn and confident, like, those don't go together for me. Quinn, the close child of God. Feeling close to God is not something that I've felt in the last few weeks. And so just putting myself in those scriptures, like, that's really powerful. Moving on. Okay, so chapter 6, the thing that I think is really important. Food is not sinful, and she makes that really clear. Food is not sinful, but it can be used as a weapon against us. And so, I've said a few times in this video, like, this sinful relationship, like, this sin in my life. For me, my relationship with food is sinful because I make it my God. And that is not okay. In Philippians 3:18 through 19, where, she's quoting the scripture, but the verse that said their God is their stomach. And that is 100% the way that I am sometimes. Like, I focus so much on food that I don't even want, like, there's certain things that I don't want to do. And I hate that. The last time that I read this book, we were in the middle of moving across country. During our cross-country move, we went through Texas, where my husband and I grew up, and there's a lot of good food there. And I was on this awesome journey to health. Like, I really was focused. And then I gave it up. I quit praying to God about my food choices. I quit reading this book, all because I wanted good food from back home. Like, if that's not the most ridiculous thing, I don't even know what it is. Like, giving up this awesome lesson that I was learning, this awesome journey I was on, because I wanted Whataburger. And let's be honest, Whataburger is delicious, okay? It's really, really delicious. But a burger, like, my desire for fast food trumped being close to God. And that makes me sick. Like, it's embarrassing to admit. I hate that that's been my truth. but it's something that I did. And so in that sense, my relationship with food is sinful because I have loved food more than God, and having an idol above God is sinful. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea that I'm saying you can't eat or like cake is sinful. Like, food is not bad. Food is not sinful. It's the way that Satan uses food against us and the way that we treat food can be sinful. Yeah. So wanted to clear that up. I think it's so important, and I'm glad that she touched on this in the book. So let's get to the questions for chapter 6. Here we go. All right. So one that I thought was really good was question number 1. It says, what is your response to the idea that we grow closer to God when we deny ourselves something that is permissible but not beneficial? Have you ever experienced this? Do you believe this could be true? Don't remember to read the whole thing. Okay. And I absolutely think that that's true, that whenever we're denying ourselves, that's how we get close to God. I think that's what fasting is, you know? I talked about this a little bit last week, but when we're purposely choosing to deny ourselves something that we enjoy, like, that brings us closer to God. As a congregation in our church, this past weekend, we did a fast, and because I'm on medication, I didn't do a food fast, but my husband and I did a fast from YouTube and from video games, because those are things that tear us apart. You know, for me, it's tempting to, in the morning, jump on YouTube and watch videos instead of spending time with God. And when my husband gets home from work, it's tempting to, you know, play video games together instead of reading the Bible together, or, you know, having a family devotional. Like, those are things that tempt us. So, you know, video games, they're not bad. Video games aren't bad. YouTube is not bad. But it's definitely used against me as a weapon whenever I spend too much time doing those things. And so taking a time to fast from those things and, you know, deny ourselves, like, it definitely brought us closer to each other and closer to God. Like, this weekend has been great, and I think that those are the kind of things that help us to reset and get closer to God. And then question number 6, which was a difficult one. If we find certain foods impossible to walk away from, this is a clue that we are being ruled by food on some level. Are there foods you can't or won't deny yourself in order to make a healthier choice? And then, why are these foods especially important to you? Blah, 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 blah. So this was difficult for me because, as you know, I'm doing this healthy eating challenge with Marcy Barker. And this last week I kind of fell off the wagon, and I didn't really know why. Like, I just kind of, I don't know, I just stopped doing it halfway through. And every day I woke up and I'm like, okay, like, I need to get back. And I've ignored my emails because she sends like daily emails. I've ignored my emails, and I've just been feeling kind of distant. And it wasn't until I read this question that I was like, oh, this is why. Okay. So this week her challenge was all about bread and flour and enriched flour. And I noticed that a lot of my favorite foods, even foods that I thought were healthy, have these things that I'm learning are not healthy. And I kind of was feeling like, no, I don't even want to deal with this. Like, I would rather stick to this wheat bread because I like it, and, you know, I don't want to take these suggestions, and almost like stomping my feet and being a brat. But I realized when I read this question, I was making this a spiritual decision. Like, I am more willing to eat bread that, you know, is doing nothing for me. It's not filling me up. I'm more willing to eat bread than be obedient to God. Like, I feel like God laid it on my heart. I feel like God laid it on Marcy's heart to contact me to, you know, invite me to this healthy eating challenge. I honestly feel like that came at a perfect time for me, but I was ignoring it this week because I wanted that stupid bread, and it's not even that good. It was like some wheat bread, I don't remember, and it's not that great. I thought I was making a healthy choice. Turns out the bread is just not substantial. It's not offering me anything. And it has added sugars, which, you know, I am trying to stay away from. Honestly, it's stupid bread. It's not even that good, but I would rather have that than be obedient to God. And that was really rough for me. Like, I did not like admitting that at all. So, yeah, I definitely think that I am ruled by food. And I just feel like that was very eye-opening to me. And so I think going forward, I can focus on other things. So this week I am just going to focus on noticing when my decisions are being ruled by food rather than my own self-control, rather than by God. And just noticing when I'm hearing from Satan excuses. You know, Marcy is like a personal trainer and she's like very healthy and she knows what she's talking about. But this week I kept hearing the excuse of like, it's good enough, you know, it says light on the package, you know, it's wheat bread. Like, I kept hearing all these excuses and I was telling myself like, it's fine. I can do whatever I want. I can make this work for myself. And honestly, I don't know what I'm doing. And this comes back to my pride where I'm unwilling to accept help or ask for help. So that's what I'm focusing on this week. And, you know, I want to be able to be open and honest with you guys. And so hopefully next week I have good news on this front, because this has been discouraging, to say the least, to be honest about where I am right now, whenever I felt like I was doing good. So anyway, that's it for this week. Sorry the video is long again. I don't know. But I hope you guys have enjoyed the chapters so far. Next week we're going to be going over chapters 7 through 9. So read those this week and we'll talk about them next week. I'm really, really excited, you guys. And leave comments down below letting me know how your week is going, telling me what you're focusing on this week, what you've got out of these chapters. Like, I just want to have this dialogue with you guys. Also, talk to me on Twitter and Instagram. That's where I've been spending a lot of time lately. Also, if you have MyFitnessPal, let me know your name down below so I can add you, because that would be cool to connect on there as well. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching this week. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!